It's still going, everybody. Don't worry, we're going to check on that later. But right now, intelligent conversations about Bigfoot are usually as elusive as the creature itself. But Cliff Barackman and I will attempt to have one right now. Please welcome Cliff, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Cliff, I am a huge fan of Finding Bigfoot. I spend my Sunday nights watching that and then live tweeting about it, and then people get mad at me. But anyway, where are you and your team in locating Sasquatch? Obviously, you haven't found him yet, otherwise the show would be over.
Well, you know, a lot of people talk about finding Bigfoot. Not the show necessarily, but the actual action of finding a Bigfoot around. And for me, it's really more about the journey thereof. There's no end goal in sight, because once we find one, whatever that means to you, we're just going to go look for another one.
Well, I think finding one to me would mean like having dinner with it. Maybe a nice conversation. That's how you find Bigfoot. Now, last night, you guys were...
Yeah, but you probably wouldn't want to eat the same things, you know?
Well,
you
that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. Maybe it's a delicious thing. Maybe if I have raw deer, I will be better at hiding, because the Bigfoots apparently are really good at hiding. Now,
They're very, very good at what they do.
Oh, they're better at me than this, I'll tell you that. You were just in Oklahoma City for last night's episode. Oklahoma City, you're like, that's not a place where a Bigfoot would be. But apparently there is sightings there. There was some evidence of Bigfoot. Now, where do you think most of these Bigfoots live?
I think most Bigfoots all across North America live where the habitat is viable. Animals basically need food, water, and cover. And where you find a lot of all three of those things, you generally have a history of Bigfoot activity in some sort or another.
Right. Now, also you can find food, cover, and water inside of a mall. But I have never heard of a Bigfoot.
Not necessarily. Depends what you eat, I guess.
Yeah, well, now, here's the deal with the Bigfoot. How are they breeding? I have a couple questions for you.
Well, I'm not going to talk dirty to you like Squatch.
No. I don't want to know literally like, what their favorite position is. I just want to know, like, how are they breeding?
The Squatchy style.
Yeah, Squatchy style. Oh, my God. If there weren't so many Gundam-style parodies already, I would be on board Squatchy style. But now, how do you think, like, are they just breeding with each other? And does that mess up the DNA strand? Like, what is happening with these Bigfoots? How are they hanging out in such small groups? And how haven't we found one yet?
Well, that's several questions. As far as breeding populations go, with large mammals like that, it seems that they get into genetic danger when the numbers drop below about 300 to 500. And that's based on cheetahs and stuff in Africa. But, however, in North America, there seems to be quite a few Sasquatches, if you include Canada in particular. I think the genetic diversity, I guess, would come into like danger when populations get isolated because of human development, and one population is kind of stranded on an island of forest and can't interbreed with other populations nearby. But really, there's no indication whatsoever that Sasquatches seem to be endangered at all. They seem to be fairly rare and fairly thinly distributed all across North America.
Do you have an idea, like in your head, like what the best estimate of how many Sasquatches there are roaming about?
Well, obviously that's open to debate, and
sure.
Certainly a much more thorough ecological study needs to be done after academic acceptance of the species. But when you consider the amount of land available and whatnots, it seems reasonable to assume that there's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 10,000 of these things,
wow.
Give or take a few thousand, all across North America. Now that sounds like a lot, but it really isn't, especially when you consider Canada. I mean, Canada has a very, very small population, but it's a huge country. There's an amazing amount of land there that is actually uninhabited. So there's a lot of land for Bigfoots to be wandering around.
Now, what do you think of the news that came out over the weekend that scientists have used DNA sequencing and have essentially, it looks like, confirmed maybe not Bigfoot itself, but a Bigfoot-like species out there? What do you think of that?
Well, I'm actually encouraged by that news. Rumblings of the study done by Dr. Ketchum, Dr. Melba Ketchum from Texas, have been circulating amongst the Bigfoot community for quite some time now. I don't know much about it. I'm not privy to the data. I kind of take a wait-and-see attitude. I just wish there was a little bit less waiting and a little bit more seeing.
Right, as do we all. But now, what do you say now to the non-believers of the Bigfoot? What is the one thing you say to them?
I don't say much, you know, because... I'm sorry about my earpiece.
That's all right.
I don't say much, though, because when you're right about something, you don't have to prove it to anybody. Bigfoots are, in fact, a real species that lives here in North America. The data shows it.
There you have it. Thanks to Cliff Barackman. Watch Finding Bigfoot Sunday nights on Animal Planet.